Hey adventurers, it's Jonathan from Hexplorit. We are going to continue our game of the Domain of Mirza Noctis, the Breach style. Now this is basically our expansion. It's going to show how we're actually playing with all of the horrors and madness that comes with this awesome augmentation to the core game. Now, we've already played through part 1. We're going to start up with part 2 here, and we are going to just take out these horrors. There's 3 remaining, and I'm going to attempt to take them out in the Breach, which is basically a special dungeon tile that becomes available at Blood Pool 70. When the Blood Pool has dropped down to 70, then this is an option that opens up and the players can actually dive down into the dungeon and attempt to face these horrors in the breach. And this is a portal where this nightmare realm is clashing with the physical realm that we all know and love. All right, so before we get started, I am actually going to get rid of Disaster. Disaster is now off of the board. We slew this creature late in the game in part 1. And when that happens, you return a slot back to the normal day or night. And then, of course, we're going to be taking Calamity's deck, which is over here, and we're going to place that in the second slot. All right. So what we're going to do is, like I alluded to before, we're getting rid of the Disaster deck, and we are taking over the second slot. And so I'm placing that on the night bar here. Unfortunately, that is going to get rid of whatever card we had on there, and that was a treasure. We're also going to get rid of the second slot here for the day bar. We'll move this on over, and then I will flip over the card because we've returned the first slot. So we are gaining, let's see, Eyes of Fire. Looks like it's an event card. And then we have, from the night deck, we have Ghostly Village. And that looks like it's a card from the living deck. Now, our heroes are in pretty terrible shape. And in fact, one of our viewers here reminded me that I did not apply the power-up bonus for our monk. And this was the +4 energy card that we received. I was so excited about getting those madness reductions that I did not take that +4 energy. So I'm going to increase Soon's energy by 4. I've already increased the current. I just need to increase the maximum here. And that's going to be really good for our monk, because the monk's passive is anytime you use an ability or evade an attack, you get to heal a target's health equal to your current energy. So the more energy she has, the greater the healing capabilities she also has. So that is an awesome thing. Now, I think what we're going to do is I'll just kind of go over one quick other thing. We still have the Grace of the Sun. Now, this was a grace that we gained at the very beginning of the game, and it was giving us bonuses based on the number of monasteries that were in play. Now, all 4 were in play, and as Disaster took those monasteries away from us, then that was being reduced. That power was being reduced. We still have 1 monastery in play. We managed to take out Disaster before that creature has taken over this location. So at least we were able to, go ahead and make that happen. All right. Now, I am going to go through and just double check that all of our stats are good for our heroes. I haven't done that in a while, so I'm going to just update my heroes. All right, so that is done. I have just taken a look and refreshed these heroes. It looks like Wonder Thumple, he is doing a massive amount of extra damage with his Dirge of the Dead. Now, if you remember, the Bard's Dirge of the Dead ability allows him to basically give all heroes a bonus to their favorite opponent damage. Now, we have amazing synergy going on in this game because Aperion, which is the legendary ally that we have found, Aperion is giving the entire group the ability to treat an opponent as favored opponent. Now, it is costing us some madness, but it is so worth it to gain this particular ability from this particular ally. Now, also, we have an ability tied with Aperion that gives the players the ability to critically succeed on stat tests. And this is also a wonderful thing because we have Runeseeker, which is a treasure which allows the group to also gain a rune. Now, this is just an awesome combination, as you've seen in the previous video. So we're going to continue doing what's working here, and we will dive right in. First thing we're going to do is roll Mirza Noctis. He is acting this game turn. We're going to roll to see what he does. Now, he has already lost one of his collector dice. So we have a total of 10, 13. All right, and 13 is each hero chooses one to gain until the end of the game turn. Boost an ability rank by 3, gain block, or gain evasion. Not really too concerned about this because we are likely not going to have a combat sequence. I am actually going to be using this turn to move 1 hex. We are going to move into the monastery here. We're only moving 1 hex, so we don't actually have to worry about wandering. Let's go ahead and roll our skills. So 3, 5, and 9. The 5 is a success for all of our heroes. We're going to gain 2 gold each. The 9 is a failure for both of our 2 heroes over here, but Xavian is the only one who needs to eat, and he has successfully made that roll. So Xavian also does not worry about using any food. Moving on to the circumstance phase. Obviously, we're in a event location. We have no circumstance. We're going to go right into the event phase. Now, I think what we're going to do is we are going to use Runeseeker, and this is a treasure that we received last video. This is once per game turn for 1 health. You may roll a stat test against your highest ranked mastery. So Soon is going to use 1 of her remaining 4 health, and she is going to roll a stat test against, let's say, Cleanse, which is her purple ability here. If it is a success, one of the heroes is going to gain an energy heal equal to the amount. Now, if the result is a critical success, the group also gains a random rune. And this is where I was saying before that the Aperion, which is our legendary ally, comes so much in handy. Whenever a hero fails a stat test, they may gain 1 madness to treat the test as if it were a critical success. So I'm going to take 1 madness cube and give it to our monk. And that is going to change that 8 into a critical success. We still get the heal, so I'll just go with our bard is going to heal up to full energy. And then we get a random rune. So let's go ahead and roll for that. We're going to roll the moon die. And the 4 is a red rune. So now we have 1 red rune. All right, now in the event phase, we also are going to have the bard. Let's have our bard use his passive ability. Once per game turn, while you are in a location that sells items, you may spend 2 energy to roll a stat test against a mastery of your choice. If the result is a success, gain gold equal to 1/3 that mastery rank. All right, so we're going to roll Dirge of the Dead, also our purple. And that is a 4. Now, his rank is 13. So technically, Wonder Thumple is going to critically succeed on a result of a Hex, a 2, or a 3. We rolled a 4, so this is not a critical success, but we have a Pyrian, which is the floating head, the skull, spirit of intellect, and it is helping us to gain this additional critical success. Now, critical success for your Bard is going to give you gold as well as a power-up given to the entire group. So let's gain that gold. And 1/3, the Dirge of the Dead is going to be 4 gold. And then we have 1 power-up. And this power-up is +1 to all skills. It is time we did something about this madness. Let's press on. All right, so this is going to give all of our heroes a +1 to all of their skills. All right, at the end of the game turn, we are in a location that sells items. I don't think I am in a position where I want to spend my gold yet. I'm going to wait just a little bit. So we are going to have the horror Calamity is going to act. So let's grab Calamity's placard, and we are going to roll Calamity's action. We get a 4. Okay, now this is an actual action for Calamity. If you'll notice on his placard, bodies everywhere. Discard the top card of the encounter deck and roll a core die. If the result is equal to or lower than that card's level, each hero gains a madness. All right, let's go ahead and roll the core die. And we have a Hex. It's going to be, unless it's a level 1, and I know it's not because we actually used Noctis's ability to look at and shuffle this deck at the beginning of the game. In part 1, it was when we were just about to face the haunted house. So let's flip it over, and yep, it is a succubus with a level of 3. This is a Hex. That means all of our heroes are gaining 1 madness. I was really hoping to fight this too so that we could gain the blood magic reward for that particular opponent. So too bad we can't face it. Now, I'm actually going to put the discard deck for the encounters in a little different area because Calamity is going to be making use of the discard deck for its passive abilities. So this is going to be our encounter deck discard. All right, so that is bodies everywhere. Then Calamity moves toward the nearest crypt, and its movement speed, let's see, what is its level? Its level is 7, so its movement speed is 3 hexes per turn. It is only 1 hex away from this particular crypt. It is going to take this crypt out. Now, a couple of things happen. Not only is this crypt destroyed, but is also considered to be open for purposes of purchasing items in the monastery. So now, Calamity has just unlocked extra items. And as it moves across the surface of this world, people are going to be able to go down into the crypt and pull out all of the stuff that Mirza Noctis has hidden in there. That is why we're getting some extra items available to us. We also need to reduce the blood pool. Now, typically, the blood pool is only decreasing by 1 for each horror that is in play. But there are other ways that you can play the game. If you want to play a more fast-paced, a more dangerous game, you can treat the blood pool reduction as if it were the number of the horrors that have come into play. For instance, this is the second horror that has entered play. So we could start decreasing the blood pool by 2 each game turn instead of 1, which I think I'm going to do for purposes of this playthrough. Again, this whole system is set up for you to have just a great experience in whatever way you wish to play. And so I kind of like the idea of making it a little bit harder for us. So I'm going to be reducing the blood pool by 2 because this is the second horror that is entered play. So that's going to decrease the blood pool down to 78. All right, next game turn. Let's go ahead and just stay here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Calamity get to this one so that we've unlocked a second one, and it will give us a little bit extra stuff. So first off, we are going to roll to see what Noctis does. Yeah. All right, that was a 1. 10. All right, so 10, that just means it's increasing our movement speed and other stuff, circumstance. You've seen that before in the previous video here. All right, so we are going to camp in place. That means we are going to heal. All right, and I didn't reduce Wonder Thumple's energy last round, so I just added that this round. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing. Let's roll for Rune Seeker here. That is a 10. So, in fact, we are going to use Aperian's ability, add another Madness, and now we are going to gain a power-up from this particular treasure. And this is, oh my, this is a +3 attack. All of our heroes are gaining a +3 attack. Oh, you know what? I mixed this up. We're going to do it for the Bard too. So let's just say our Bard is also doing this here. Rune Seeker is the one that gives us the rune. The Bard is the one who's giving us the power. I'm just too excited by this +3 here that we're getting. All right, so let me write that down. Rank 12. Our Bard is just doing 12 damage each game turn. That is insane. This little leprechaun is not to be messed with. Now, those of you who are astute will also find that I'm not applying my +3 attack to my Familiar the Living Blade. I actually did this wrong with the last playthrough. The Familiar is not meant to gain power-ups. However, when you gain a power-up that matches the Familiar stat, you can choose to give that amount to the Familiar instead. So that's my bad, apologies. I should have also just moved those ranks from the Scout to the Living Blade. And in fact, that +3, I think I did it twice. So I'm just going to take a +1 for the Scout instead of a +3 to make up for that with the last video. Okay, so now we are ready. Let's roll that rune. It is a random rune that we gained from Rune Seeker. An 8 is a diamond. Okay, and we are done. Let's reduce the blood pool by 2. It is now 76. And we are going to roll for Calamity. We gain a 12. Fused Dead. Calamity gains the top card of the encounter discard pile as a Fused Dead. So what this means is our Fused Dead is going to be applied to this particular entity. This entity, Calamity, has pulled a succubus into its body, and it is now part of this horror. So I'm going to actually place the cards that are infused dead right here, and you can see how that is going to function later in the game when we actually take on Calamity. All right. One other thing. So I need to back up a moment. If we look at Calamity's target, each time Calamity ends movement on a crypt, it is destroyed, and Calamity gains the top card of the encounter discard pile as a fused dead. So it should already have gained this encounter because it was discarded during part of its turn. All right, and it doesn't say if the discard pile is empty, it doesn't say grab it from this location. So it's not gaining a second one. All right, then it moves. 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is moving quick too. Calamity is going to reach the next location, the next crypt, in 2 or 3 game turns. Okay, next round. Let's go ahead and roll for Noctis. 3, 6, 9, 10, 13. And of course, we've seen that action before. We don't need to worry about any dark graces. Again, if you gain 4 of a kind, you're going to gain a dark grace. All right, let's go ahead and use Rune Seeker. So we will go ahead and, for 1 health, let's roll the moon die. And that is an 11. It would be a failure, but because Aperion, we're going to take on a madness. And our monk is up to 4 madness. Okay, then we are going to gain a random rune. So let's roll that die again. And it is an 11. And an 11 is a triangle rune. So this is the blue. We now have 1 of each rune type. Okay. Then we are going to have Wonder Thumple use his ability, Dirge of the Dead, and he is going to be trying to gain some gold. And that is a critical failure. The crowd is just not liking him at all. But of course, we have our wonderful Aperion, Elder Spirit bound to the human skull. Whenever a hero fails a stat test, they may gain 1 madness to treat the test as if it were a critical success. Only if you fail, you gain the critical success. You can choose to fail a stat roll. You just don't roll, and it's considered to be a critical failure. So, in that regard, we can actually use this in that manner. So, power up. And we just got a +3 attack last game turn. This game turn, we have a +2 to defend. Thank you to the Bard. All right. And he gains a madness from using Aperion's ability. At the end of the game turn, we have the blood pool goes down to 74. Calamity is moving. 1, 2, 3. And it is acting, and it rolls a hex. Startling find, immediately play 1 card from the lowest level horror deck. That is going to be Calamity's deck. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is Anger Issues. Striker role type. A single glance of the terrible entity known as Calamity sends your mind reeling with anger. All right, so maybe we're in this monastery and we are actually seeing through like a divination pool or something, or watching the devastation of this particular horror as it ravages the country. All right, like the foam and mist off of a waterfall, you feel small pieces of your sanity break away from you. For the remainder of the game, strikers boost the damage they deal against targets that are not blocking or defending by the amount of madness they have. Against targets that are blocking or defending, reduce the damage strikers deal by the amount of madness they have. All right, so this is going to be applied just like we have found a healer type augment. This is the striker type augment. So next game turn, we're going to stay here and wait one more time until we get the second unlock. Will give us more items and get to the finale, the epic conclusion of our adventure. All right, so we're staying in place. We're going to be healing. We'll have Mirza Noctis roll what his action is going to be. Three, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's still 10. All right, so we've seen that one. Not going to apply to this particular game turn. I am going to use Runeseeker. As I've mentioned, you can do this with stat tests. It's in the rulebook. You can choose to just automatically fail and gain a crit failure. Now, we're getting pretty close on madness here. I'm going to take one more and place this here. You'll notice once you gain 6 madness, we have 5 for our monk. Once you gain 6 madness, really bad things start to happen to your hero. You'll see what that looks like in a little bit. All right, we're going to roll for our random rune, and that is a hex, which is another circle. Okay, and then we will have our bard use Dirge of the Dead. He's automatically going to fail it. We'll take a madness, and Aperion is going to grant this a critical success. He's going to gain another 4 gold. I don't think I took gold last turn, but that's okay. And then we're going to take a power-up card and choose 1. Oh, man. +1 defend, +3 health. It's got to be health. That's amazing. 3 game turns in a row, we've gotten a +3 attack, +2 defend, and a +3 health. And there you have it. We're going to reduce the blood pool by 2. It is now blood pool of 72. Calamity is going to move, and it's going to act. We gained a 4. Bodies everywhere. Discard the top card of the encounter deck and roll a core die. If the result is equal to or lower than that card's level, so it is a level 1, we need to roll a hex to see if this triggers. We roll a hex. So this triggers. If the result is equal to or lower, each hero gains 1 madness. Okay, guys, so we now have 6 madness for our bard. We now have 6 madness for our monk. We have 2 madness for our scouts. If either of these 2 heroes gains 1 more, we are going to start losing our mind, and our abilities will begin to be reduced each time that occurs. All right, so then Calamity is going to move 1, 2, 3, and it has now taken out the second crypt, unlocking the second crypt and unlocking items for us to be able to use. When it takes out a crypt, it also gains the top card of the encounter discard pile, and it is added to its fused dead. So now it has the Hanged Man and the Succubus as part of its body. This strange creature. All right, and then we are going to have the next game turn. And we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11. All right, so this game turn, we are going to spend our gold. Items have now been unlocked, and then we can move and get out of this location. And by the end of this game turn, the breach will have opened, and we can actually go down into the dungeon and attempt to close it from within. We are going to, we're camping. Then we are going to roll for Rune Seeker. D12, we're going to fail it. We're just considering this a critical failure. We are going to gain 1 madness, but again, we cannot gain more than 6. So what happens when our heroes gain more than 6 madness? Let's check that out. Each time a hero gains madness, add a madness cube to the tracker. Heroes may only have up to 6 madness at any time. Each time a hero's madness would exceed 6, do not gain another cube. Instead, lose 1 rank in a random stat. Roll a core die and consult the table at right. It is possible for ranks to be reduced to 0. So we are going to lose a stat. I'm going to roll a d10. It is a 3, so that is an energy. We Soon is losing 1 energy to get rid of this cube. She now has 15 energy. All right, we gain a random rune because of this. It's got 8, and that is going to be a diamond. So we have 2 red, 2 green, and 1 blue. All right, then our bard. Our bard is going to use Dirge of the Dead, gain 4 gold, and he is going to also take 1 more madness from Aperian's ability, reducing 1 of his stats. And again, we will roll the stats. And that is a 7, which is 2nd mastery. His Song of the Troubadour is going down. He's starting to lose the words of this particular song. He can't remember them anymore. Okay, so let's take a look. Monasteries can sell both the items that are available in monasteries as well as items that are available in villages. Now, it also will gain additional items that you can purchase as the different crypts are unlocked. All right, so it'll just be a few minutes as I spend our gold here. Okay, I have just spent all of the gold that I'm going to spend here. We have purchased a few things that are going to be very interesting and help us on our journey here. The first item that we've purchased is a sanity pendant. Whenever you would gain any madness, roll a core die. If the result is less than or equal to the amount of madness you have, negate that madness. So this is going to help us basically whenever we gain madness, possibly give us a chance to avoid it. I've given 1 to each of our heroes. Now I've also gone ahead and purchased a Sovereign Elixir, which can be used to remove a critical wound or to raise 10 health. And heroes may only consume 1 each game turn. So I've taken 1 for each of our heroes. Then I've taken a magic torch, which is available in villages, and I've taken 1 of those for each of my heroes. While the group is in the dungeon, gain 1 additional time, and only 1 available per hero. Finally, I've spent the rest of my gold on gear upgrades, and I've just used it on the health gear upgrade. And that is going to give us a little bit extra health as we go into the final chapter of this game. Let's see how it plays out. At the end of our game turn, we are going to have Calamity. Again, moving across the board. Let's roll to see what it does. Here it is. We're going to have the blood pool be reduced to 70. Now, something Strange happens at Blood Pool 70. At Blood Pool 70, Noctis can no longer hold the breach closed. The breach becomes a physical place on the map, represented by this particular game piece. Now, this game piece is going to be placed in the dungeon wherever we want it to be. We haven't really expanded into the dungeon in this game, but it can be placed, and Mirza Noctis will be, let me see if I can get that on the board here. There, you can see it there. It's actually not going to be attached to this game world here, but what happens is the players can go to Mirza Noctis's castle and basically start on the first hex of this particular location, and then advance as if you were in the dungeon toward the event horizon, which is the center hex for that tile. If we make it to the center and we survive, we will have destroyed these horrors and actually have saved all of Krasvetelia. All right, so at Blood Pool 70, that is going to occur. Next thing we're going to do is roll for the action of the horror. This is an 8. An 8 is not tied to Calamity, so it is not doing anything this game turn. Instead, it will be moving simply 3. 1, 2, 3. And where is the fourth crypt? We have 1, 2, okay, yeah, one's here and one's here. So we have 2 more crypts left, and Calamity will have taken all 4. All right, now one thing I didn't do at the end of the last game turn was turn in all of our runes for stuff. So what I think I'm going to do instead is we are going to we're going to go to this location here, which is a crypt. We're going to unlock it, and then we're going to activate our runes in that crypt, and that is going to give us another blood magic because we have another set. So that will be awesome. Then we're going to head over to the castle, and we are going to enter the breach. All right, the beginning of the game turn. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. All right, well, he's rallying to give us something extra here. So I think all of us are going to take Evasion 7 this game turn from Noctis's action. All right, then it is going to be the movement phase. Let's go ahead. We're going to 1, 2, 3, 4 move to this location here, and that must be, yes, that's Hidden Forge. Okay, so we're moving 4. We are going to roll our stats. Okay. And we do not wander. We gain a little bit of gold, and we don't need to worry about food this game turn. We are going to play a circumstance next. Let's roll, whoops, as I throw the dice everywhere. Let's roll that, and we get a 1. So we're moving during the day. That means we gain Eyes of Fire. A mysterious stranger with eyes that flicker the color of flame approaches your campsite. Each hero loses 2 food or 1 food item. Yeah, sure, let's do that. 2 food. It's a good thing we actually have food to give him. If you do not have enough to lose, draw and face the Deranged Executioner. Afterward, keep this card until a hero dies. That hero immediately rolls a core die to determine the greater aspect they gain. So we meet this stranger, and he somehow gives us some kind of a blessing that will help us if one of our heroes dies. Okay, and then we are going to replenish that card. We see Crows Overhead. This is a green rune that is being placed on hex tile, let's see, quadrant D, which is going to be right here. All right. Nope, right here. Okay, the next thing that happens is we are currently on an event location. Let's go ahead and roll this Hidden Forge card. And this is a Explore. Reduce trap damage by the number of clues. There are no clues in this location. Small, primitive smithing tools and scraps of metal are embedded in the earth here. A lightly used path leads to a well-hidden but cramped cave. The solitary site could be home to a tribe of Miskia or perhaps Ratkin. Inside, you find a small forge used to craft jewelry. Nothing valuable is found, save a very old blueprint of a ring that looks oddly familiar. All right, so we are going to roll our yellow. I'm going to treat our green die as our scout, the yellow die as our monk, and our blue die as our bard. 9, that is a failure. Oops, sorry, 7, success. Hex, critical success. 9, also a success. So all 3 of us have succeeded. With 1 critical success, the monk is going to gain a bonus rank of her choice. Let's go ahead and take survival. Now, the suspicion level is 8+. We actually rolled a 9, so this trap is going to go off for our bard. Our bard is losing 4 energy from the trap on this card. All right. We gain a green rune from this card. We now have 3. Finally, we are going to use Rune Seeker one more time. Let's go ahead and have Soon use this. She's going to reduce 1 health. We're not going to roll. We're going to take a critical failure, and that is going to also give her a madness, and then we're going to lose a rank because her madness is 6. And she loses another energy rank. But we've gained a rune because of it. And let's roll for the random rune. This is a table that can be found on the battle mat or on the game turn placard. So 5 is going to be a diamond rune. So we have 4 of those. Okay, let's move this out of the way here. Now we're not in a location that sells items, so the bard can't make use of his ability. We are going to use the scout's ability, though. The Moon Elf. Moon Elves are celestial and ancient, revered as elders in their community. Once per game turn for 3 energy, you may choose which circumstance card to play during the circumstance play phase, or may move the group up to 2 hexes during the event phase. So yes, so we're going to take 3 energy drain from this ability. We're going to move 2 hexes closer to this particular location. That's going to be the end of our phase. The villain will go next. We're going to lose 2 blood. We go down to 68 blood. And then we will roll for the horror. Get a 10. And again, this is tied. The 10 is tied to disaster. Disaster is not in play, so we skip it. And calamity moves 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Now, when we have Blessing of the Sun. So if we look at that, once per game turn before the event phase, if you've accomplished completed a circumstance, you may select and play 1 card from the day bar. Additionally, the group receives a -1 bonus to all stat tests during the day. So I think what I'll do is place a clue. And that just means we are going to play that circumstance. I also see I have to flip over this one here. We have the Long Night, and this is going to be a nature card. All right. We have done everything we need to do now for this game turn. Next game turn begins. 12. We will increase our movement speed by 1, or you may adjust the circumstance die by 1. All right, we're going to move 1 hex. We're going to roll skills. Thankfully, we only moved 1 hex. We would have wandered this game turn had we not used the Moon Elf's ability. We would have failed Navigate and we would have wandered. So by using the Moon Elf's ability last turn, we have managed to save where we're at this game turn. All right, then we have a 6 is a success for all 3 of our heroes. We're going to get some gold. And the 8 is a success here, and that's the only hero that needs to eat. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is, during the movement phase, let's use Recon and Camouflage. This is the Scout's ability. So we'll spend 1 energy, and we'll roll to see how many successes he gets. And we get 3 successes against Recon and Camouflage. These successes can be used in a certain way during this game turn only to give us some additional stuff. Okay? All right, next thing that's going to happen, we have entered a crypt. So let's take a look at that crypt card. All right, crypts may be unlocked and the token removed in one of 3 ways. Expend a crypt key, which we do not have. Roll all skills during the event phase. 1 hero must succeed on all 3 rolls. Or exiting a locked crypt from inside the dungeon will also open it. Now, runes can be activated in crypts whether or not they are unlocked. So before we do anything, let's use Runeseeker one more time to gain 1 more rune. Soon is going to suffer 1 health damage. And we're going to treat that as a failed stat test. She's not going to roll. That means she's taking a madness. And we're going to lose a rank in is attack. She is losing an attack rank because of this madness. All right, but because of this, she also is gaining or using Runeseeker with Aperian's help to gain another rune. So we are going to roll a d10. That is a hex, and that is a circle rune. Man, we're gonna walk all over these horrors. It's not even gonna be a contest. But it'll be fun to kind of watch how it all comes together here. All right, so the next thing that happens is the event phase. We are going to unlock this particular crypt. We're going to roll all 3 of our skills, each of our heroes rolling, and one of us has to succeed on each roll. So Scout first. Failure. Made it. Failure. We can use the Scout's ability to treat each of those as a success, to treat 2 of those as a success. And that means the Scout has actually opened up the crypt, unlocking additional items. Okay, so we are going to continue our event phase here. We are going to gain quite a few power-ups. In fact, I think we're going to go through this entire power-up deck at some point here, where we have gained so many runes this playthrough. It has been pretty epic. Okay, so we currently have 8 runes that we are turning in. We are turning in 3 red, 4 green, and 1 blue rune. Now, what we're going to do is take a look at the Crypt Placard. And in the Activate Runes section, it goes ahead and describes how those are going to give us power-ups. So mark the rune type on the table below and add to the total number of activations below right. Then discard the runes. So each hero gains a power-up for each rune activated. And the group draws a power-up and gains twice the bonus for every other activation. So we are turning in 8 runes. That means we're going to gain 8 power-ups apiece, and the group is going to gain 4 group power-ups. So let's draw the group power-ups first, and then we will go ahead and give our heroes the rest of the bounty. All right, so oh my gosh. All right. So each of these is a multiple rank increase. Check this out. And this is double the bonus? What? Attack and defend +2 each. So that's +4. Oh my gosh. All right. We are epic currently, you guys. We are epic. This is overkill. We are going to roll over all of the bad guys. If we were to take on anyone in this game, we would just roll right over them. I can't even believe I've let the game go on this long. It's been fun for me though. I'm enjoying playing it. All right, so let's see. We have a second mastery and navigate. That's also +2 each. Awesome. Even with the madness decreases, as we gain more madness, we have so many ranks in our stats that we can afford to lose these. It's not even a question anymore. Another +2 second mastery, that becomes a +4 second mastery. We have rank 21. Xavian, our scout, has rank 21 honed in instinct here. After I do the rest of the power-ups, it is going to be it's just going to be crazy redoing our heroes. All right, so now, oh my gosh, +2 explore, and it's a blood tier rank. Blood magic tier by 1. This is doubled. Oh my gosh. All right. So the group gains 2 blood magic tiers. What? That's crazy. We are now tier 4 for blood magic. And that's going to really help us out because we can use the blood magic spells that we have. We currently have Mirrored Symbiosis and Blood Siphon. Our blood tier is 4. So let's draw 2 more cards and see what they are. Bone and Sinew. For 3 critical health, a target of your choice gains 1 permanent health or energy rank. This spell may be used on escorts and familiars and may only be used up to once per game turn per group. So we can begin to use critical health to basically increase our health or energy ranks. All right, so that's the first one. The second one is Bestow Power. Boost an ally's action rank by your tier, so 4, until the end of combat. This effect does not stack with itself at tier 3. Boost 1 additional ally's rank. Okay. All right, so that is that. All right. That is the group power-ups. I am now going to draw 8 power-ups apiece for the remaining runes and give them to my heroes. I'm not going to show you all of that. I'm just going to speed forward. So let's see what we get. We have 4 cards left in the power-up deck, by the way. And we've drawn another blood magic tier, you guys. So let's take a look at the next blood magic tier we gain. We now have tier 5 for our blood magic, Projected Madness. Choose an ally who has at least 1 critical wound. They lose 1 critical wound and gain 1 madness for every 3 critical health you suffer. At rank 4, the ally also heals vitals equal to the madness they gain. So this is a way for us to move our our critical wounds to madness. All right, and there we have it. We now have applied 24 power-ups to the group. All of the horrors are going to just quiver in fear as we are ready to face them. We are beyond ready to face them. All right, so we are going to end our game turn with the villain phase. The villain phase, we will see a reduction in the blood pool by 2. It is now 66. Then we are going to roll for Calamity's action. And that is a 3. That is a Cataclysm action, so we are not playing it. And then he will move 3. 1, 2, 3. And that is the end of that game turn. Now, I just noticed that we have 1 extra die here, collector die, that we need to take out of Noctis's pool. That should have occurred at blood pool 70. So we will only roll 5 dice now for him, and he will lose another one at blood pool 50. So let's see what he does for us this turn. We have a number of 1s here. We have 4 1s and a 3. That is a result of 7. So each hero gains a -1 bonus to all stat tests this game turn. So that will be a good thing for us. And that will also, it looks like we rolled 4 1s. We already have rank 4 of Sanity's Penchant, so we do not need to worry about that. All right, so movement phase. Why don't we move recklessly? We are trying to get to Mirza Noctis's fortress here. Now, in the expansion, Mirza Noctis's fortress is not his boss location. We are not actually facing the Bloodlord. We are going to enter his fortress and go down into what's called the Breach Hex tile. This is a special dungeon tile. It does not connect to the main map, so we wouldn't be able to travel from here to here. I've just placed it here so that you can kind of see it on this screen. So our goal is to get into this location and then go through the breach and close the breach in this manner. This is going to give me 2 Valor points. Not only will I defeat all 4 of the horrors in this game, but by closing the breach in the Breach Hex tile there, we will gain another point of Valor. So I'm definitely interested in doing that. So we're going to move recklessly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Yes. And then we'll use our Moon Elf's ability to move us 2 more at the end of our event phase. All right, so we've moved. We're going to roll our skills. We're also going to suffer some energy drain from moving quickly. You know what I didn't do? I didn't give us our set bonus, the blood magic tier for our set bonus. So I need to do that yet. So our blood magic tier is now 6. And we gain 1 more. And that is Render Flesh. For 4 critical health, during combat, a target of your choice gains health regen equal to your tier, so 6, for a number of rounds equal to your tier. Outside of combat, this spell negates a condition a target suffers from. So we can get rid of conditions now as well. Okay, we've moved. We've taken our energy drain. We're automatically going to fail survival from moving recklessly. We have to have our scout eat some food. And we gain several gold here. All right, and we do not wander. We were able to stay on course. Next is going to be our circumstance phase. We've moved during the day. We're going to roll a 6-sided die, and that is number 4. Now this is a unavoidable card. I think I'm going to use the Leprechaun's ability to modify the circumstance roll, and I'm just going to be placing a cube on Hanged Man. So again, I'm spending 1 gold. Up to 3 times per game turn, you may spend 1 gold to modify a damage roll, a skill roll, or a circumstance roll by 1. All right, so that means we've gained this one here. Now, when you play a circumstance and you have the Grace of the Sun, once per game turn before the event phase, if you've completed a circumstance, you can select and play 1 card from the day bar. Additionally, the group. Okay, so I'm going to place another cube on. Let's go with this blue one here. So I'm just placing clues on the board here. We're learning a little bit about some of the investigations that are occurring in this land. All right, that leads us into the event phase. I'm going to have our Moon Elf spend 3 energy to move us 2 hexes. And that will put us on this particular monastery. All right, because it's still the event phase, I think what we will do is we heal to full. The group heals all lost vitals and negates any conditions and afflictions upon entering a monastery. So we all heal to full. Next is going to be the villain phase, and that will put the blood pool down to 64. We'll roll a die for Calamity. We roll an 8, and that is a non-action. That is an action for Cataclysm. And then we will have Calamity destroy this particular crypt. Now, when it destroys a crypt, it gains the top card of the encounter discard pile. There is no encounter. We have not played encounters hardly at all in this. Like, we've been hanging out in the monastery almost this entire game, tapping into the synergy that we found. So this is really kind of a strange, or not strange playthrough, but it's uncharacteristic. It's showing off the game in a little bit different way because we pretty much hung out in the monastery this entire game. All right, so then the next thing that happens is Noctis is going to act. And again, we've got a bunch of 1s. We have 5, 6, 7. We have 8. So that is going to be the -1 bonus to stat tests once more this turn. Once again, we will enter our movement phase, and we will move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is going to get us close to the castle, but not there quite yet. We're going to suffer some energy drain. And then we are going to fail survival. We only have 1 food left for our scout. Thankfully, we do have a little bit extra food to share through our other heroes here. And then we will roll Navigate and Survival. Now, Navigate is successful, and Navigate and Explore, not Survival. Navigate and Explore are both successful. So we're going to gain some gold. All right, and then we are going to enter the circumstance phase. We're rolling on the day side here, and we roll a 2. Now, a 2 is Calamity's card. So let's draw Calamity's card and see what happens. Buried treasure. The last grave Calamity looted for a corpse had actual loot in it. The entity, however, is much more interested in absorbing the dead than in spending any gold it finds. The group gains this card. Each hero gains an effect based on their role type. Striker boosts the health damage you deal equal to your target's level. So this is just additional stuff that we are gaining. So the healer gains a boost effect, and the other gain a bonus to all stat tests equal to your opponent's total levels. Wow. We are just completely outfitted here. All right, so then we have the event phase. There is no event on this location, but our Moon Elf will use another 3 energy to move us 2 hexes. Yeah, up to 2 hexes. So we're going to move right next to Mirza Noctis's fortress. Then we have our opponent phase. The blood pool goes down to 62. And then we will roll a d12 for Calamity's action, and we get a hex. That is Startling Find, which means we're drawing a card from his location. All right, Forgotten Mausoleum. The rich often created mausoleums for their elders. Such a structure showed class and wealth and oftentimes dug deep underground. Gain 1 random role-type legendary item you do not already possess. Search for and place the mausoleum token here. This location acts as an unlocked crypt and applies to monastery unlocks. You may enter and exit the dungeon here from any other entrance. Horrors may not target this location. Wow, so this is actually going to become a 5th crypt that has appeared on the board. And we gain a legendary treasure. Oh my gosh, what is going on? We have gotten like so much power in this game. All right, so I grabbed the token that denotes this. We could enter the dungeon here and explore to find this tile, but we're so close to the fortress. I think I'm just going to enter it next turn and pop into this hex here. So this just, again, would allow us to enter the fortress, and it acts as a crypt. So if we had any runes left, we could actually turn those runes into this location as well. That saves this location for when Calamity has destroyed all crypts. It gives you 1 additional crypt on the board that that Calamity cannot target. All right, so 1 random role type legendary card. So what I'm gonna do is grab the role type legendary cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gonna shuffle them. And we find Aglabol's chest. This small box is covered in cerulean feathers. Standing beside it, you feel the unbound power of an ancient angel. Whenever you target an ally with one of your masteries, boost their action rank by 2 that round. Allies, and during the night, allies gain a -1 bonus to all stat tests in combat. Now, Aether boost. Each round during the resolution phase, give up to 3 heroes one of the following bonuses. They gain defend. You can boost their damage equal to the number of Explore gear upgrades you possess. Oh, he doesn't have any Explore gear upgrades. He actually has no skill upgrades at all. We haven't purchased any. So this second Aether boost is not really going to help us. But check it out. It does have a wielder bonus of +2 to all skills. So that is going to further increase our hero here. 9 navigate, 17 explore, and 5 meager 5 survival here. All right, so Aglabol's chest. We now have the legendary card. And that will end our event phase. That's the villain phase that is now complete. The Calamity is going to move 3, so it's moving toward the next 1, 2, 3, the next crypt. And it is our game turn once more. So we're going to have Mirza Noctis use his ability. And we have 3, 5, 9, 10. We've got a 10. So we can see that adjusts our movement speed by 1. Would have been helpful last turn, but we're not complaining, Noctis. Okay, then we will move. So if we take a look at the rulebook here. Okay, so let's take a look. Placing the breach. The breach dungeon tile may be placed in the dungeon adjacent to other dungeon tiles and may enter play in one of 2 ways outlined below. So the 2 ways are if you find the breach dungeon card. So this is a card in the purple dungeon deck. If you were to be exploring the dungeon, you can actually find and place this tile there. The second way of entering and placing the breach is by having that blood pool drop to 70, at which point places the breach in play, and entering via Mirza Noctis' castle. Once the blood pool has been reduced to 70 or less, the group may enter the breach directly from his castle. During the movement phase, while the group is on Mirza Noctis' boss location, the group may teleport to the entry hex of the breach dungeon tile. If it is not already in play, it may be placed. Okay, during the movement phase, we're going to move 1. And now we are going to teleport into the breach on the location where the breach begins. So this is going to be this location here. And now our goal is to get all the way to the event horizon in the breach. And this is going to pit us against the 3 remaining horrors in this particular game. And you guys, I think you're going to be amazed at how quickly we squash these things based on all the stuff that we've gotten. All right, so let's take a look at that dungeon tile and the tokens that are going to be in play here. The breach dungeon tile represents the breach, a monstrous portal that is opened, acting as a doorway between this realm and the terrible reality the horrors are emerging from. The breach itself is alive and teeming with its own alien sentience. An even greater horror, the world render is just beyond the breach, biding its time to enter the realm. All right, so we have the breach tile and the entry location. As you can see, we have spawn points, which are going to show these icons with the encounter icons. Let me grab those icons, those tokens, I mean. And then we're going to place a token on each of those locations. This is just going to come into play in a moment. Now, the group moves through the breach as though it were a part of the dungeon with the following changes. So rune stones are not placed on this breach tile. Time. Each hex of movement inside the breach costs 5 time instead of 1. Now, what is time? Time in the time in the dungeon is based on a couple of things. The hero who has the highest navigate and explore rank combined. So let's see, we have, they each have the same, 11 and 12. So that's 23. 17 and 9 is 26? 26. So our bard is the one who has the highest rank. 26. Man, we're going to be able to breeze right through this. All right, so 26 is our time. Now we also have a couple additional bonuses to time. We have the Blaze Treaders that we have found, the boots. Now this gives the group 4 extra time while in the dungeon, so now that's 30 time. We also have magic torches, each one of our heroes, and that's another plus 1 time for each. So we have 33 time that we can use to get through this particular breach. Okay, so now we have the ability to basically follow this path. We are only going to be able to move backwards, rest in place, or move forward. We can never move through the walls on this particular location, so we have to follow that path. Now, moving backward, the breach itself doesn't want us moving forward, and so it's going to reward us for moving backward. For each hex that we move backward toward the exit, we heal vitals equal to our madness, health and energy. So that's a 6 heal for both of these heroes, and that's a 2 heal for Xavian, who only has 2 madness. Now, if we rest in place, we are not moving, and we are going to heal vitals equal to half our madness. So we will heal a little bit less. Now, moving forward is defined as moving closer to the center hex of the breach. Now, for every time we move forward, let's check this out. A few things occur each time the group stops movement when they've moved deeper into the breach. We first gain madness. So every time we stop, we are going to gain 2 madness. Now then we have to roll stat tests. Each hero rolls 3 stat tests of their choice with a penalty to each test equal to the number of hexes the group moved this turn. So the further we move each game turn in the dungeon, the harder those tests will be to make. Heroes lose 1 rank in any stat that fails and 2 ranks in any stat that critically fails. And finally, we add an encounter to the spawn pile. Now, the spawn pile is a special encounter deck that will occur when we are going to these spawn locations, and you'll see that in a moment. Now, there are 3 spawn points on the map. We must end our movement on a spawn point if a spawn token exists there. So as you can see, there's a spawn token here, here, and here. So those are the 3 locations that we're going to have to stop on. Now, you'll see what happens next for that. The rifts. The rift tokens, there are 4 of them on the map where we must stop to affect the breach's pattern. The higher a hero's madness, the more they understand about the alien nature of the horrors. The group may move through these locations without stopping if we wish. So we can move through these locations if we wish. We do not have to stop on those rifts. Now, when the group ends movement on a rift, after an encounter has been drawn and added to the breach pile, each hero rolls a core die and compares the result to their madness. If the result is equal to or less, that hero succeeds. If the result is higher, that hero fails and gains 3 madness. If at least half the group succeeds, reduce 1 horror's level by 3 and remove the rift token from play. So what this is doing, if we were to stop on these locations, we would effectively be reducing a horror's level by 3 if we are successful in attempting that particular effect. Now, for purposes of this gameplay, I'm going to skip that entirely. I think we're more than capable of vanquishing these horrors without having to worry about their levels. All right, so with that in mind, we are going to use some of our time. So we have 33 time. That means we can move 6 hexes. That would equal 30 time, right? So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We cannot move past the spawn token. This is a token that we must play. So we've moved 5. All right. All right, each hero gains 2 madness. So we have a sanity pendant. This is an item that I purchased in the monastery. And basically what that is going to allow us to do is possibly not have to take the extra madness. Whenever you would gain madness, roll a core die. If the result is less than or equal to the amount you have, you negate the madness. So core die for the scout. And it's a 2. So the scout doesn't take the first madness. And it's a 4, he does take the second. So we are going to place 1 madness here. Now the monk, we have to roll a 6 or less, and we roll a 4, and we roll a 7. So the monk is going to gain 1 madness, and a 3 for the bard, and a 2. All right, so the monk is going to lose 1 rank in a stat based on his madness. Hero's choice. Let's go with health. All right, so we have moved. Now we are going to roll our stat tests. Each hero rolls 3 stat tests of their choice with a penalty to each test equal to the number of hexes the group moved. All right, so we have a +5 penalty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 stat tests. Let's go with Honed Instincts is going to be the first one for our scout. We make that. Let's go with Superior Tactics at 15. And that is a crit fail. So we have failed 1. Heroes lose 1 rank in any stat that fails. All right. So that was attack. So our attack rank is going down by 1. And then finally, 14 versus a 2 + 5 is 7 is a success. All right, so the scout, it manages to get through this particular test. The monk is going to roll dark blue, attack, and defend. Do we have roll a green and a red? All right, so we have an 8 plus 5 is a 13. That is a success on defend. We have a crit failure on chakra flow. So this is going to be reduced by 1. And then the 7, it's actually not a crit failure. It is increased to a 15. Oh, 15 is actually a success. Never mind. Her rank is a 16. So that is also a success. The 7 plus 5 is also a success. All right. Same thing. Let's go with the bard. I don't want to have him lose a Dirge of the Dead rank, so we'll just do red and green and red, orange, and blue. And all of those are successes. Okay. Finally, we are going to add an encounter to the spawn pile. The spawn pile I'm just going to place here. This is going to be what we're encountering inside of this particular breach. Now, the spawn pile is a special encounter pile. It contains opponents that may be fought only in the breach. They are collected as the group moves further inside it. After the group has moved for the turn, if they moved any number of hexes forward, draw the top encounter and place it face down in the spawn pile. Okay, the group will face the entire spawn pile in combat when they end movement on a spawn point containing a spawn token. So we have ended movement. So that means we are going to now face the spawn pile. Now, we can choose to run from these creatures if we wanted to. Looks like they are vampire bats. So we have just found these alien vampire bats that are in the breach. We can, I think, easily take them on. It is 4 + 1 per hero, so their outlast is 7. If we wanted to, we can flee from these and then face them further along in the in this location. I think for now, let's just flee from them, and then we'll face them all later. So if successful, and let me just double check this, you gain a penalty to flee equal to the number of encounters you are currently facing. So we are currently facing 1. You know what? I think we're just going to take them out. It's going to be quick and easy. So we are going to write 7 for Outlast. Let's go ahead and take Pyrion's Prodigium Peritus. Up to once per game turn, each hero may gain 1 madness to gain favorite opponent against an opponent type of their choice until the end of the turn. So we are going to select Ascendant, and it is going to allow us to treat all opponents this turn as favorite opponent. And so immediately, all 3 of us are good against favorite opponent, and that means we will reduce Outlast by 4 right off the bat. That's 3 for their favorite opponent, 1 for the Outlast reduction at the end of the game turn, and then we will have our abilities. Now I think we will go ahead and roll Survival. That is a success. And let's roll Yellow for the Monk, and that is a success. And our Bard is a crit success. So we will have reduced them completely. We would have reduced them by 9, actually. And let's see what the Vampire Bats do. They roll a 1, so yellow. So that means Xavian is going to suffer. Those who fail suffer 1 corrosive health damage. Those who critically fail suffer 2 corrosive critical health damage. And he critically fails. He did not roll this one. So corrosive critical health. So down to 16, and he will take a critical wound. So because it is the night, check out the bottom. If Keshkazul is not vanquished, ambush it after vanquishing Vampire Bats. I think for the purposes of this playthrough, I'm going to skip that boss battle. It would only increase all of our power again. And I just want to show you the end of this breach scenario. So we will save Keshkazul for another day. All right, so that is done. And we have defeated that spawn token. We can remove it from the map. Okay, so now we go into the villain phase, and the horror is going to move. So we have a reduction in the blood pool. It is now blood pool 60, guys. So that means the next horror is appearing on the board, and it is going to be level 9. All right, so the next slot is placed. And let's roll for that horror. It's either going to be Tragedy or Cataclysm. And that is going to be closest to Cataclysm. So Cataclysm is now appearing on the board. Let's take a look at Cataclysm's card here. All right, emerges from the breach. Place Cataclysm on the location shown at right in any in any orientation without leaving the hex tile. So Cataclysm has just appeared on the location that is Mirza Noctis's keep, his castle. This gigantic entity is now appearing here. Now let's take a look at this movement speed section. At level 5, it moves 3 hexes per turn and is represented by a small 3 hex token. At level 7, again, moving 3 hexes per turn, and it is still represented by this small token. But at level 9, because it is the third horror that has appeared, it is moving 2 hexes per turn, and it is represented by this gigantic tile. Now, Cataclysm moves toward the nearest boss location during the villain phase each game turn. Each time Cataclysm ends movement on a boss location, it is destroyed. Cataclysm gains a level for every 2 boss locations it destroys. So it is already destroyed Mirza Noctis' boss location, and it is going to place the token here. Now, if you'll notice, this would have closed the breach for us. So now we cannot, even if we go backwards, we cannot go back to Mirza Noctis' keep. We have to explore the dungeon in order for us to get back. So we're going to place his tile here, and that is going to show that Cataclysm is in this location, and it's likely going to make its way toward the nearest bosses. All right. So now, let me write down its level here. 9. All right, so now we have 2 bosses in play, 2 horrors in play. That is 2 decks are now out. And that will mean that we are going to roll the villain action. We get a 6. And that is reduce Noctis' power by 1 or blood pool by 1 for each horror in play. So now that is going to reduce our blood pool by 2 to a total of 58. Our blood pool is now 58. And then we have the bosses moving. So we have 1, 2, 3. And we have 1, 2. All right. Then it's our turn. We can, let's continue moving forward. We haven't really lost too many vitals here. So we're going to, again, move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to get right to that next encounter again. Again, I'm not worried about reducing the levels. Yeah, maybe I should. We'll do it at the next one. We'll do it at the next one. All right, so we've moved forward. We're going to gain madness. So we rolled a failure to negate the madness on 1. So the scout is going to gain 1. The monk is also going to gain 1, and then the bard is going to gain 1. All right, so each of our 2 heroes here would have gained another madness. They're going to lose a rank, and that is a 10 and an 8. So a 10 is survival, and an 8 is navigate. Okay, we've moved. We're going to add a card to the spawn pile. And we have moved on to a spawn token, so we are going to face that card in combat. Now it is an ascendant opponent. We could take Aperian's Madness to gain favorite opponent against it again. These are abysmal soldiers are piercing the breach, and they are coming out of the walls and attacking us. So now this is a 8 total outlast opponent. Now we did 9 last time, so I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to do this. And check it out, they have attack and survival, which we have really good attack here. So I think all 3 of our heroes are going to roll attack. So for our scout, we roll a crit success, so that's subtracting by 2. Our monk rolled a success, so that's subtracting by 1. And a 6 is a crit success for Wonderthumple, our Leprechaun Bard. So that is 5 total that we're reducing. 6 with the end of the game turn. Let's go ahead and use Aperian's ability. So we are going to all take on a madness. Let's roll to see if we gain it. Scout does not. The monk does not. And the bard does not gain the madness, but we gain the effect. So that will effectively reduce the outlast to the abysmal soldiers down to 0. So let's see what they do. D6 rolls a 2, which is attack, which means we are completely immune. We managed to use our skill against them. They have done no damage to us. We gain 6 gold and a gear upgrade. Yeah, and if 2 or more heroes fail the stat test tied to the abysmal soldier's action each round, increase their outlast by 1. So that did not happen, so that's good. 6 gold and 1 gear upgrade. And let's go with survival, and navigate. Okay, so we have just destroyed this spawn point. Like I said, we're just clearing these out, walking all over these things. All right, villain phase is going to happen next. We are going to roll. We'll have the horrors will be reducing the blood pool by 2 down to 56. Then we have the horror action, and that is going to be D12, and we roll a 6. Again, the blood pool is going down by 2. We're now down to 54. And then we have the horrors are moving. So 1, 2, 3. And we have 1, 2. Oh, and I should place these in the discard pile. These are the encounter discard pile, because Calamity is going to be making use of those. Okay. Now it's our turn again. Let's go ahead and move 2 this time. 1, 2. Get the marker out of the way. And then we are going to use up some madness here, or we're going to gain some madness. So gaining 2. Let's go ahead and roll the stat test against the madness here. 5 and 9. So that is both are successes because we have only moved to 2, and so our modifier is only a 2. So that means that we do not take the madness. We have the sanity pendant. The monk is using her sanity pendant to also try and mitigate this madness gain, and we have 2 crit failures. So a 16, that would become a 12, but which is also a success. And this would become a 12, which is also a success. So we managed to get rid of both of the madness gains for our scout and monk. Let's look at our bard. Rolling against Dirge of the Dead and Strafing Sidestep, 16 and 17 respectively. 16, so this is a 7 result and a 5 result, both of which are successes. Again, you can see just how overpowered we are right now. We're not suffering any of the side effects from this whatsoever. All right, so we have moved on to one of the portals. Let's take a look at what happens with that. Okay, the rifts. When the group ends movement on a rift token, after an encounter has been drawn and added to the breach pile, so we have moved, we've added the encounter to the breach pile. Each hero rolls a core die and compares the results to their madness. If the result is equal to or less, that hero succeeds. All right, roll a core die. That is a failure. If the result is higher, that hero fails and gains 3 madness. All right, so let's roll for that madness gain for the sanity pendant. And one of which fails. So he's going to gain 1 of the 3 madness. He now has 5. All right, then we're going to roll a core die against the madness of our monk, and that is a 2 that succeeds. And then the bard rolls against his, and that is a 3. He also succeeds. So 2 of our 3 heroes have succeeded. If at least half the group succeeds, reduce 1 horror's level, your choice, by 3 and remove the rift token from play. All right, so that means we can reduce one of these particular horrors, their level, down by 3. So let's take this level 6. Level 7. He is going to become a level 4 boss because we managed to close this particular rift in the breach. Okay. And then we go into the villain phase. So the villain phase is going to start with a blood pool reduction. Blood pool is now 52. Then we have the rolling the moon die for the villains. We gain an 11. Now check this out, guys. So a result of an 11 is unique to each of the horrors that are in play. So if you roll an 11 or a 12, you'll see at the bottom of each of the horror placards, you have to play both of those effects. So let's go with Calamity first. Calamity gains the top card of the encounter discard pile as a fused dead. So that he is reabsorbing these abysmal soldiers that we fought and now has reabsorbed them into its body. Cataclysm. Encroaching Madness. Add 1 clue to each horror deck. Each time a card is resolved from one of these decks, for each clue, 1 random hero gains 1 madness, then remove the clues. So we are adding a clue to each of these 2 horror decks. And this will mean that we are going to be gaining madness if we were to roll these. All right. Finally, the horrors are going to move. Calamity has just taken over the last of the 4 initial crypts. Thankfully, we've revealed 1 additional right over here. And when Calamity takes over a crypt, it gains the top card of the encounter discard pile as a fused dead. So it is now reinfusing these vampire bats, these abysmal vampire bats have been drawn into its body. All right, and then we have the movement of Cataclysm. 1, 2. And Cataclysm has just destroyed this boss location. Actually, it's destroyed both of these 2 boss locations. All right, so that's 2 boss locations destroyed, and that means its level is now 10. Cataclysm is now a level 10, and we haven't even seen the 4th boss yet come out. At 11, it is going to be represented by this particular game piece. So it is going to be rolling over the land at this point and destroying, just devouring all of these boss locations as in its wake. All right, let's do this. We are going to finish our game here. This has been one of the most epic games I have ever played on camera. We have found ourselves in the Breach Hex tile. This is a special dungeon tile, and I am in the thick of it. We are almost through to the center of this location, so let's continue on. All right, so we have just finished the villain phase, moving right into the next movement phase. And again, once you're in the Breach, you are only playing the movement and villain phases. So you'll find that in the rulebook in the Breach game style here. So we are going to play the movement phase. Now, we find ourselves, let's see. I think what we're going to do is we are going to go all the way to this next encounter token. We can move up to 6 hexes in this dungeon here. It's all based on the time that we have available to us. So let's go ahead and begin. We are going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it costs 5 time to move for each hex. So we've used 20 time to get to this location. We have to stop on this spawn token. Now, once we stop, we each are going to be taking 2 madness. Now, each of us still has the sanity pendant, and that will allow us to hopefully not gain the madness. We're going to roll to see if we gain this madness. Okay, so that's a 10 and a 10. Our scout is taking both of those madness tokens. Now, he is at 6. We have gained 1 extra, so now we are going to roll to see which of his stats is being reduced. This is a 4. Okay, and a 4 is going to reduce his attack rank by 1. Well, that isn't the greatest. Xavian's attack rank is reduced to a 13. All right, moving on to our monk, taking 2 madness. We have a 6 and a 2. Both are equal to or lower than the madness she currently has. She does not gain additional madness. Let's check for the bard. A 9 and a 2. Our bard is going to gain 1 madness, and that means we are reducing a rank. We have a 3, and a 3 is going to reduce his energy by 1. Okay, so now we've moved forward 4 hexes on this breach tile. That means now we are going to be rolling stat tests with a +4 penalty to the roll. I will go ahead and roll, let's roll the masteries and defend. So we'll roll 1 at a time for each of our heroes. All right, so comparing the ranks here, this is with a +4 penalty. You can have your modifiers move you into a critical success or critical failure. So check this out. We rolled a 6 with a +4 modifier is a 10. A 10 is always considered to be a critical failure. So our scout is going to have that rank reduced by 2 because this is a critical failure. So recon and camouflage is reduced to an 8. All right, we have a 7 in with the modifier is going to be an 11. That is a success. A 4 + 4 is an 8, is also a success. All right, let's check out the monk. All right, so we have a 10 + 4 is 14 for chakra flow. We managed to have this be a success. 2 + 4 is a 6, also a success. 4 + 4 is an 8. So our monk, Soon Lightbringer, is unaffected. Finally, our bard, we are rolling for him, and we have a 5 + 4 is a 9, success. Hex + 4 is 5, success. 9 + 4 is a 13. His Dirge of the Dead is a 17. This is also a success. So we have been able to not lose our minds in this location. Our abilities and our ranks are beginning to kind of disintegrate as we lose our power when we move through this location. Okay, finally, we've moved forward. So we're going to place another card in the spawn pile. There are 2 cards in this pile. We find ourselves on a spawn token. So now we face both of those in one combat at the same time. And let's see what we have. Okay, so we have the Merilith, which is a level 4 ascendant, and we have a combat event. ambushed on the road. Just when you thought you found a safe spot for the day, you are ambushed by one of Noctis' agents. It doesn't take you long to realize she's targeted you for a reason. You're ambushed by a vampire sanguimancer. The first hero who dies during this battle gains the vampire greater aspect if it is not already in play. If you flee, increase the blood pool by 3. If you vanquish her, gain a crypt key. So we have found one of Noctis' agents in here, and for whatever reason, he is actually attacking us in here. Maybe Noctis does want to control these horrors after all. All right, so I'm going to place this ambushed on the road down for a moment and actually locate the collector's card, which kind of shows the 3 different collectors that Noctis has available to him. If you'll notice, we have the Vampire Sanguimancer on the right-hand side. So they are going to ambush us along with this Merilith. And again, this Vampire Sanguimancer is not an undead creature. We are currently in the breach. Everything in here is an Ascendant type opponent. So we have to face, we're ambushed by a Vampire Sanguimancer and a Merilith, which is basically coming out of the walls to attack us. All right, can we do it? Let's write down all their stats here. All right, first of all, the ambush is going to occur. And if we take a look at the ambush keyword, we see that opponents who ambush take an action before combat begins. The rolled action only affects a single target. Ambush may include alternate effects. After the keyword, if the heroes ambush an opponent, roll target dice, one hero takes an action. Okay, so they are attacking us first. We are going to see what they do. Let's go ahead and roll. This is a Hex. Triple unyielding, 3 health. And the vampire heals equal to the damage it dealt. It hasn't lost anything yet. All right, let's roll target dice to see who is affected here. We have the Scout, the Monk, the Bard, and of course we have our Aperian flying skull here. So let's go ahead and roll target dice for everyone. All right, so I'm rolling skills to represent each of our heroes. Green for the Scout, yellow for the Monk, blue for the Bard, and then I'm using this purple die to represent our Aperian skull. And let's see, the target is going to be the Monk with a 9. So our Monk is suffering 3 total health damage. She is reduced to 17 health. And this is going to begin our round with the these 2 groups. Now, looking at the Merilith's special ability, we see after vanquishing the Merilith, each hero may fuse up to 5 of their gear upgrades, and additionally, heroes who suffer 8 or more damage each round also gain a critical wound. So we may be taking critical wounds here if we're not careful. All right, so what are we going to do? Our Scout is going to use Honed Instincts. So this is going to reduce his energy to 9. And it's going to boost all heroes' ability ranks by 7. So that is going to be huge. Our Monk, let's see, our Bard is going to do Strafing Sidestep for 16 plus 7. And he's going to be attacking the Merilith. The Monk is going to use her Aura Shield to defend this round, and let's use Aperian's ability to give a favored opponent. We are going to each take a Madness. Let's see if we take the Madness based off of our Sanity Pendant. We have a 4, does not take one. A 7, Xavian is taking a Madness, and the 3 is not for our Bard. So Xavian is going to lose a rank in his second mastery. His second mastery, and this is actually going to reduce the bonus that we have by 1. Okay, now everyone is gaining favored opponent against these Ascendant creatures, and this is going to be for the entire game turn. Aperion is going to take his action. Let's roll for him. We gain a 3, and this is a heal of 4 health. So we are going to get 2 targets are healing 4 health, and he is defending for 3. All right, so that's a good thing. And then now let's go ahead and roll our favorite opponent. So our scout is going to be dealing 4 favorite opponent damage. Our monk is going to be dealing 2, so for a total of 6. Our bard is going to be dealing 3. And in fact, I think we're going to use Dirge of the Dead instead of using his strafing sidestep. So I'm going to use Dirge of the Dead to increase all of the favorite opponent damage that we're dealing by 17. Our opponents are going to die from this because we're using our bard's ability here. All right, so let's see what they do to us. We're going to roll 2 6-sided dice to see what the opponents do. A 2 for the Merilith. Group, target suffer 1 health damage for each ability gear upgrade they possess. All right, so we have 2 incoming damage here. We have 2 incoming damage here. Actually, she was defending, so she actually does not take that. And then our bard is also going to suffer 2. And then we have a 5 for the Sanguimancer, and this is triple unyielding, 3 health. The vampire heals health equal to the damage it dealt this round. So the vampire may actually heal enough to keep it alive. We'll have to see what the health is at the end of the round. All right, so let's go ahead and figure out who our targets are for this particular attack. This is a triple unyielding attack, which means it can actually target the same target multiple times. All right, so we have a 9. So our first target is going to be the scout. All right, the next target is going to be the scout again. All right, so we have 2 attacks coming into the scout so far. And the third target is our bard, Wonder Thumble. All right, so we are going to be suffering some damage here. These guys are not defending. So we have triple unyielding, 3 health. So he takes 6 health damage. Xavian Moontide is down to 8 health remaining. Our bard is down to 16 health remaining. Aperion is healing. So he is actually healing 2 targets for 4 health each. So our scout is coming back up to 12 health, and our bard is coming back up to 20 health. So the Sanguimancer and the Merilith are both destroyed in the first round because of our favorite opponent damage. All right, and that is going to give us some gold. Let's see, 6 gold, a gear upgrade. We get a power-up, and that Vampire Sanguimancer is giving us a blood magic tier. Okay, I'm going to place these cards back in the discard pile. Let's draw the power-ups first. We have 1 power-up left in the power-up deck here. All right, our scout gets a +3 to defend. Our monk gets a +3 to health. And look at that, our bard gets a +3 to explore. Well, our bard doesn't really need any more explore, but we'll take it anyway, right? Okay, and then we finally have the blood magic tier gain. So let's see what blood magic we get. Embrace the horror. 1 hero gains 1 madness until the end of the game turn. Boost the damage that target deals or the healing they receive, their choice, equal to your tier plus their madness. Oh man, our tier is now 7. We are done with that particular event. We're going to take this token off of the board, and we have cleared all of the spawn points, which means we can now, at the next movement phase, we can begin to close this portal. All right, so at the end of this round, we are going to have our blood pool reduced by 2. And we are now down to 50 blood pool. And at 50, Noctis loses an additional die. So he is now down to 4 dice. And again, we do not play his phase while we are in the breach. We only play this phase when we're out in the world. He cannot affect us while we are in the breach. Okay, finally, it's going to be the horror's turn. Let's see what they do. We roll a hex. Now, a hex is we immediately play a card from the lowest level horror that is in play, and that is Calamity. So let's see what card we get. Research Scholar. These otherworldly powers bring out the worst in some, yet there are others who show no fear. You find the notes of a dead researcher who studied Calamity. Keep this card. When you face Calamity in combat, roll the moon die each declaration phase and heal its influence equal to twice the result. Okay, so this is actually going to give us a little bit of a boost as we are facing Calamity. Now, we're not going to need it, but if you'll notice, if we were to face Calamity outside of the breach, this bottom part would kick in as well. The group gains 1 additional power-up for defeating Calamity. You may claim this reward if you draw this card after it is vanquished. Additionally, 1 hero gains the above effect as a favored opponent option against their favored opponents. So, again, we do not get any bonuses when we face the horrors in this realm, but we may be able to use this to our advantage if we need it. And then finally, the horrors are going to move. Calamity moves toward the nearest crypt or the heroes if there are no crypts remaining. So it can actually enter the dungeon. So now this is, the dungeon is right here. But we are going to have Calamity make his way over to Noctis's keep so that he can enter the breach and come find us. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to move 1, 2. Cataclysm is moving this way. And that is going to be the end of our game turn. All right, now the next game turn. Here's what we have. We are near the end. We are near the event horizon of this particular tile. So how does this work? We are going to spend our movement phase moving 1 into the event horizon. If we take a look at the rulebook, the last hex in the breach is the event horizon, the point where the 2 dimensions merge. The group can close the portal here and attempt to save the world from the spreading corruption. When the group ends movement on the event horizon, combat with the horrors begin. Face each horror in play in combat 1 at a time, starting with the lowest level horror. That is Calamity at level 4. The group may not flee from this combat once it begins, so it's all or nothing. We have to defeat them here or we lose the game. At the beginning of each declaration phase, including the first, all heroes gain 1 madness, and the horror currently in combat with the heroes loses 3 levels. So we are currently facing the event horizon, and we're using as much as we can our energy to close this portal. And just by our presence here, we are reducing the level of these bosses. So this is a great option for players who do not have combat-oriented groups. Now, we could squash these horrors with the heroes we've built. These heroes are so overpowered right now. But this is just a great option for you to actually bring healers down. Or bring sappers, or bring a group of heroes down into the dungeon that may not be well suited for combat. Okay, so our Scout and Monk and Bard, we are all taking Madness. Alright, so again, if we roll higher than 6, we will take a Madness. Our Scout Xavian is taking a Madness and having a ability or a stat reduced accordingly. We roll a 5, and that is Defend. So Xavian is losing a Defend rank because of the close proximity of the breach. Horrors are here. They are now coming through this portal from their locations in the world, and they are now facing us in combat. So let's take a look. We are facing the first horror, Calamity. And at the beginning of each declaration phase, their level is being reduced by 3. So its level is now only 1. Calamity's level is 1. That means it only has 10 health and 10 energy. Okay, I think we're just going to defend this round. This is all we're going to do is defend. Now, if we take a look at what it does to us, let's go ahead and see. It's going to roll a d6 with a 5. Carrion Consumption. Calamity heals health and energy equal to the combined levels of its fused dead. If the total healing exceeds the total damage, all heroes gain 1 madness. Now, it would, because it's taking no damage, it is healing 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. It's healing 10 health. So it actually is going to be causing us madness. Let's go ahead and roll to see if we take it. We have one of our heroes is actually taking it. Our Bard is going to be losing a rank. And he loses a rank in Defend again, just like our Scout did. And it's kind of hard to read. Okay. And now let's take a look at the last part of this bullet point here. It says, during the resolution phase, if a horror's level is reduced to 3 or lower, which Calamity's level is now 1, or if that horror would die, that horror is vanquished, and the next highest level horror in play enters combat. The group does not gain rewards between combat with the horrors while facing them in the breach. So at the end of this game turn, Calamity's level is 1. It's going to be basically reabsorbed into this portal, and now we are facing a level 10 Cataclysm. Looking at Cataclysm's card here, at the beginning of the declaration phase, we are having the level be reduced by 3. So let's have that go down to 7, from 10 to 7. Cataclysm's level is 7, and if we look at Projected Being, its passive ability here. At the beginning of each declaration phase, each hero must roll a core die and add the number of non-ability gear upgrades. So let's go ahead and roll for the Scout. We rolled a 10 plus non-ability gear upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 15. If the result is a hex or is less than Cataclysm's level, all right, so it's more. So he does not gain a madness. Let's see what the Monk has. We roll another 10 plus 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, that's not going to trigger for the Monk. And the Bard rolls a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Cataclysm's level is 7. Less or is less than Cataclysm's level, that hero gains 1 madness. Okay, so the passive does not trigger for any of us. Now we are going to enter combat. If you check it out, Cataclysm is a titanic entity. That means it has more than 1 health and energy vital. What this means is that in order for us to defeat Cataclysm, we either have to just outlast it, or we have to defeat all 4 of its health values. Its level is 7, so it has 2 health levels tied to its attack and defend. And then finally, if we look at Consume, which is its boss abilities, it is times 3. So it's 3 times 7, it's 21 and 21. So we have 4 total health values here that we are going to take out. Again, I think we've done our due diligence in this game, and I think we've earned a little bit of a reprieve. So our heroes are going to be just closing this portal. We're just simply going to defend as Cataclysm tries to take us out. So let's see what Cataclysm does to us. Defending. Aperion is going to do something. Let's see, 2 piercing health damage equal to the amount of madness the group has. So single piercing health damage. We have 6, 12, 18. That is a attack of 18 total piercing damage. Now we are still also facing a favorite opponent here. So we get to roll some favorite opponent dice. Man, let's just have our Bard use Dirge of the Dead once more. So instead of defending, our Bard is going to use Dirge of the Dead, increasing each of our favorite opponent rolls by 17. That already is 17 damage coming into 3 of the 4 of those values. Let's roll for the rest. The first one is 1 damage. Second monk is 5 damage. The third Bard is 4 damage. Now this is only one entity, so we do not get to roll favorite opponent against all of its vitals. We just get to roll it once. Okay, so just like that, this entity is down to less than half health for each of its 4 values. All right, let's see what it does to us. We roll a 3, and this is I for I see you. Single target energy equal to its level. The target suffers a -1 penalty to resist projected being until I see you is defeated. This effect may stack. Now it is at level 7, so it gains this ability at the bottom here. This action is used twice if both ICU's vitals are above 0, which it is. All right, so we are going to have 2 targets taking some energy damage here. Let's roll to see who those targets are. And we have a 10 and an 8. So our scout and our monk, and they are both defending. So they are both taking no damage. All right. They are both going to have a penalty to resist projected being next turn. So let's go ahead and reduce this level by 3. Its level is now 4. And at the end of this declaration, at the end of this round, this being will also be banished because we are currently in the event horizon. All right, so let's go ahead and see what it does this time. Projected being. So we have to roll a core die and add the number of non-ability gear upgrades. So we have a 6 plus 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, minus 1 for the ICU is 10. That is not going to trigger. The 2 might trigger here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, it's not. It's also not going to trigger. Okay, so we don't need to worry about this projected being passive. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to heal. We're going to defend here. Our Bard is sustaining Dirge of the Dead now. So we're going to take 1 more energy. And we are going to be defeating Cataclysm this round. There's no way it can do anything to stop us unless it heals some gigantic amount. Aperion gains favorite opponent against each opponent this round. So now Aperion is also gaining favorite opponent, and our Bard is increasing his favorite opponent damage by 17. So there's no way this thing can come back. We roll a 3 once more. I see you. And we are going to only have it affect 1 target this round. Let's see who it is. We're all defending. So it would be our Bard. And again, he suffers no damage. All right, so Cataclysm at the end of this round is dead. It is defeated. it is going to usher in the next horror. The last horror is now on the board. Let's take a look at Tragedy's placard. The last horror that enters play is level 11. All right, so level 11. Now, at the beginning of each game turn, you reduce the horror's level by 3. So it is starting combat at level 8. It has 80 health, and let's take a look at its passive. Health and energy damage may reduce Tragedy's health and spawn vitals. Whenever Tragedy suffers health damage, raise Tragedy's spawn vital by an equal amount. The spawn vital begins combat at 0. Okay. Shifting form. Reveal cards from the top of the encounter deck equal to Tragedy's level and set them aside next to Tragedy as its forms. They do not enter combat. Count each type and note at the bottom of this placard. Increase Tragedy's health by 5 for each Ascendant and Spirit. Revealed this way, whenever a hero rolls their favorite opponent die, they gain 1 madness. So we're going to be gaining quite a bit of madness just by using our favorite opponent abilities here. All right, so it is level 8. We are going to take 8 total cards from the encounter deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's see what we have. Bone Golem, Shadow Dragon, Gremlins, White, Nightmare, Eddard's Black Tentacle, Demogorgon, now it's really like Stranger Things, and the Night Stalker. So we are going to take all of these types and we're going to write down the types at the bottom of our placard here. So I see 1 creature. Do we have any constructs? We have 1 construct. We have 2 ascendant. We have 1 magical nature. 1 monstrous humanoid. And 1 undead and 1 spirit. So almost everything is represented here. Okay, now it increases its health by 5 for each Ascendant and Spirit. So we have 2 Ascendants and 1 Spirit. So that's 15 extra health that it's going to gain. So it has 95 health. You guys can already see we are going to be taking this thing down just very simply. Okay, so next thing that we're going to do is we are going to enter combat. Our scout is going to use Honed Instinct to boost all ability ranks by 1/3 Honed Instinct rank, so 6. So all of our heroes will have their ability ranks increased by 6. Our monk will be using Aura Shield and possibly using a item. Our bard will use Dirge of the Dead. Aperion. What is Aperion going to do? We roll a 4, and that is going to be a dual 4 health heal, and it's defending. All right, so let's see about our favorite opponent damage. This is an Ascendant creature. We are dealing Ascendant damage, favorite opponent damage. So our Scout is dealing 4 plus 17. Actually, it's 23 because of the Scout's boost. So that's 27 damage in the first attack. We have our Living Blade, which is our familiar. Our familiar is also going to be dealing 5 piercing health damage. Okay, then we have our monk doing favorite opponent damage, and we have 23 plus 5 is 28 health damage. Finally, our Bard that is a hex, so 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 23 is 34 health damage. Alright, we almost could one-shot this level 8 boss in one round. Let's see what Tragedy does to us. And it is a hex. Mountain of Muscle, single. The target suffers health damage equal to 3 times the highest level monstrous humanoid form Tragedy has. So monstrous humanoid, that's 4. Level is 4. Now, and it also gains block equal to 5 times the highest. So it can't block any of the damage we're dealing because it's all piercing damage. Okay, so let's resolve this attack. We're going to find a target. Okay, and our 10s are going to roll up. We have an 8. That is going to be our Bard. Our Bard is suffering 12 damage. He is reduced to 8 health. Our legendary ally is going to be healing him for 4. Goes back up to 12. And the end of the round is upon us. It's the next round. Its level is reduced by 3 from 8 to 5. We're all going to defend. And actually, let's go ahead and just use let's use some blood magic here. We're going to use Embrace the Horror, and we're going to have our monk suffer 1 critical wound, and she is going to boost the damage that target deals equal to your tier plus their madness. So 6 plus 7 is 13. Our scout's going to be doing an extra 13 damage. Why not? We're doing plenty of damage to this thing. Let's see what it does to us this turn. Just defending all around anyway. Lashing Membranes. Triple. And it's half its level health. Tragedy is a humanoid opponent this round. If the combined levels of Tragedy's humanoid forms is greater than the attack's damage, it deals damage equal to the value instead. So we have no humanoids in its spawn vitals. So we're just going to simply take, each of our heroes are going to take 3 health damage, and we've all defended. We are not going to suffer any of that. We have now destroyed Tragedy, and we've saved the world. From inside the breach, this is worth 2 valor points. So I just wanted to say the playthrough here is not 100% reflective of every game you'll play with the expansion. We unlocked a pretty amazing synergy, which allowed us to gain all but 1 of the power-ups in the power-up deck. Now, I took my time to kind of show you the concept of that synergy, and I just focused on that the entire game. We spent most of our game inside the monastery just gathering power-ups. I had a great time. This has been an awesome time to show you the expansion and how it is played. I hope you all enjoyed watching. Until next time, everyone, have a great journey and enjoy your adventures in the Explored system. Thanks for watching.